about the power of K'Sante and how that is pretty much prioritized everywhere else, EDG are just banning champions from the previous game.
They're going to ban Nidalee as well, aren't they? It's just like, okay, I see what you did there, RA. We're just going to not let you have any of the champions that you played. This is literally like if you played best of 3 at a Clash or something. Like, it's just solo queue scouting. It's like, this is your favorite champion, this is your favorite champion, and this is your favorite champion.
Wow, okay. So, Vi's up. We also have Zeri, Yuumi. It's going to be Renekton first pick again.
Annie's available too.
Yeah, and Annie. So, I mean, hell, Ari could go Vi Annie here and feel pretty happy about that, to be honest with you. Lian, of course, has lent more on those Feast or Famine junglers, right? But, I mean, strength of champions. You have to think about that. And I think if the combination is up, naturally, you almost always take it. So, let's see where RA go as they're hovering over the Annie. They're acknowledging it. Question is, will they go through the lock-in? They will. And now it's up to Lian, likely to go towards a jungler unless they want to pick up an AD carry. But after last game, I feel like they're going to be happy to see, you know, sit and wait and see what EDG and Uzi have cooking to just get another strong setup in the bottom side of the map.
I mean, I feel like it's moments like this in the draft where you see what the priorities are for the teams, and for RA, it's about counter-picking, right? They go for the Annie as their one blind pick, but pretty much for the rest of the draft, they'll be able to go for counter-picks here, depending on what EDG pick up. If they do go for their mid laner here, then at least RA will have to blind pick something in the second phase. But we'll have to see, because EDG, with the B1 Renekton, I feel like they've gone, look, ban the Blitzcrank, ban the Draven, remove what was strong in the bottom side from RA in game number 1, and then take their B1 Renekton, take that big strength at the top side as well away. Let's see what RA can do. So I like the approach from EDG, kind of picking apart the initial strategy of RA. Whether or not they can turn it into a win is a different question. As Vi's still open, but perhaps the Wukong priority here. You do have the Annie for setup, and we have mentioned Lian does love these carries.
Yeah, carries, and to be honest with you, I don't mind it, right? I think the reason why RA here, they don't actually go towards that Vibe line is because Xayah and Rakan are both up. They've locked in the Annie, and they weren't really thinking about going towards the Rakan. They didn't want to split that up either, so they go towards the K'Sante, wait until 3 for their jungle pick. And what this also does now is not only allow them to remove away 2, you know, strong team-fighting junglers from the hands of EDG, which can very often put Kha'Zix in the ground in those mid-game team fights. It also means that EDG have to either, you know, all in towards AD carry bans or support bans, or try and split and just remove away the worst possible combination of champions that they feel like they could be dealing with here. So for RA, I feel like still, you know, in a really, really comfortable position. For EDG, they've got the makings of a strong comp, right? They have their Renekton on the top side for a very strong, consistent top side. They've got the Loves Duo on the bottom side between the Rakan and Xayah, so you know the 2v2 should always have a baseline level, a solid baseline level of strength. It's just about trying to solidify now the middle of the map with JJ and Fofo's picks.
Yep, the Yuumi, I feel like, was almost a mandatory ban there from EDG. You compare with so many champions, it could be so horrible to deal with. And Fofo actually gets his Azir picked away or banned away from him so that Strive doesn't get too much pressure in that mid lane. What do EDG want to ban though? Because like Zeri is available, Aphelios as well, a champion that we've seen so many AD carries thrive on. But then there's also things like the Lulu, which could be a big pick. Aphelios could be a big pick. Sorry, I actually meant to say Nautilus there. Aphelios would have been a big pick, but I did already say Aphelios.
Guess what RA are picking, buddy? It's Nautilus. Who would have thought? I'm kind of surprised here that EDG went for the Aphelios ban here in second. I feel like you want to remove away something like the Naut here, because RA were looking for engage in my mind, right? They've got the Annie, they've got the Kha'Zix, they've got the K'Sante. These champions, you know, obviously Annie can start up a fight with like a Flash Tibbers or whatever, but it's not a consistent form of engage, whereas something like the Nautilus is on the opposite end. So let's see, EDG pick up the Wukong as that wasn't removed away. It was the Azir in that second ban, and Fofo's going to go towards Lissandra. So looking for a little bit of extra lockdown as RA, assume, is going to throw the Kai'Sa back at Uzi. So Kai'Sa Nautilus in the bottom side, an immense amount of burst inside the laning phase if that dredge line connects. So a lot of potential blood to be had on the bottom side of the map. So I feel like Lian and JJ both going to be drawn down here in the early stages.
Yeah. I mean, Kai'Sa versus Xayah, this is kind of the classic matchup, isn't it? Baolan has the Nautilus, which in my mind, is the best support pairing with the Kai'Sa. You can set up for the combo to come on through for that, the passive to be procced so damn quickly. I feel like Fofo very much playing the setup game. We'll see how this bot lane's gonna go. Uzi's smile from the end of that last game no longer on his face. You can see him looking real serious because this bot lane, this is a skill matchup.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, I was watching the LEC last night, and Dracos was talking about how back in the day he was starting to get tired of Kai'Sa Xayah, and now today in 2023 he's like, how I miss those champions. I think they ended up in the same matchup last night as well. We'll see how Uzi and Assume both pilot either side of this one as we get into game number 2. Expect a lot of action down here. It has to be bloody by nature, I think. And for EDG, they have to find a way back in, otherwise they could be facing down another 0-2 series and could be dropping to 3-6.
Certainly could. Both teams tied in the standings here. EDG getting 2-0'd by RNG in their most recent series, and now 1-0 down against RA as well. It's a tough position for EDG fans to be in, especially off the back of such a dominant, recent performance out from the organization. Especially Spring almost making it to MSI 3rd place in the end, losing out to BLG, who honestly have evolved over the course of the year. Mako pressured on all sides here. Stun comes out from Strive. Gonna have to use the Grand Entrance, surely. In fact, Balan not overcommitting to the play. I think rightly so against Lissandra and the Rakan.
Yeah, I think also just kind of considering the fact that even if he does throw out the dredge line, that the likelihood is Mako will just use that Grand Entrance to dodge it anyway, so just felt like not really committing, and hey, Strive will get a little bit of first strike gold at the end of the day. And you're talking about the EDG story, definitely right, man. It does feel almost, I don't know, it's a melancholy feeling to see EDG hit such a high in Spring, considering, you lose those household names, you lose Viper, you lose Scout, just to see them still be at the top of the table, to now be struggling throughout summer. I do really want to see a bit of a resurgence for this EDG lineup, at the very least. Again, making playoffs is kind of that baseline, always kind of the hope, and then you look to see what kind of evolution you can do. It worked out for BLG, that's for sure. Now, one of our best teams in the LPL.
Yeah.
I think if you told people halfway through Spring regular, they would have said that you're a crazy man.
Yeah, it certainly would. BLG, their level up was absolutely insane this year. I feel like RA looking really good as well. I feel like RA and Ultra Prime both have these rosters now that you can believe in a little bit. Now, Ultra Prime have been struggling a little bit more, but RA have been managing to get some wins on the board. Still not managing to break even yet, but, I feel like a lot of people built up an expectation of RA being very low down in the standings. This is a team that, in my mind, very much could make it to playoffs. And especially if they're coming in with clear-cut game plans like they did in game number 1. Speaking of game plans, how are we feeling, Jamada, about what RA are bringing to the table here for game number 2? Because we talked about the bottom lane matchup, but like Lien on the Kha'Zix with Strive on that Annie to set him up. Sounds like a powerful combo.
Yeah, it definitely is a very powerful combo, but I will say it does feel a little bit Feast or Famine, right? As Dredgeline connects, Mako.
He's ignited. He'll walk away for now as Uzi has to cleanse as well, but Assume one auto away from killing Mako here, but he can't overextend or Uzi will finish him off in kind. But hey, look at this 2v2 from Assume and Baolan. They're going for more! Flash for flash between the AD carries.
Yeah, I wonder if Assume... I'm not sure what Assume was actually respecting there. Maybe they assume that, no pun intended, that JJ is down here on the bottom side. As this space is also going to get stopped. Baolan doesn't want to step forward either. So kind of surprised that there was no flash forward for that first blood, as Lian has now been drawn down here from, I believe, the top side of the map. I think he full cleared from bot to top, and now he's coming down here. Strive as well, trying to get a roam down. Again, interrupt this base. It's going to go through. Will they find Uzi, though? Oh, they do actually stop it. Yeah, with that Void Spike. No. So now there's a massive wave being lost. I don't think the cannon was inside of that wave either. So it's just all going to die exceptionally quick. And the plate's even going to go over. Lian's going to steal away some of that.
I can't believe that.
At the very least. Hey,
absolute criminal behavior from Lian. How does he take some of the play goal? Come on, man. Look, he dominated 2v2 against Uzi and Mako, for God's sake, and you're taking a play gold.
He worked exceptionally hard for that full clear into the bottom side to steal away that 88 gold. All right, buddy, grow up. It's called tax. All right. He came down here. Hey. He stopped Uzi's base. How about that?
the observers watching whether Uzi gets the cannon. Man, brutal.
Oh, man, that's rough. And even worse, that wave has practically brought that tower down as well to like an auto attack and a half from the next plate take. So if Asum and Baolan get on top of that, they'll definitely be getting another cash injection as Leanne picked up the skull and also stole away Jie's Raptor Camp on top of that. So he's going to have a really, really meaty base. So considering he stole away that extra plate for his services of stopping Uzi on the original base. So should be looking towards a Dirk and then some as JJ down here on the bottom side. Can't really do much. This wave is, stacking up, and presumably Asum and Baolan shouldn't step up too far. And to make matters even worse, they're even going to spot out JJ here on the ward.
Yeah, should be able to get vision at very least as JJ. I think he's gone too deep on this one. They haven't seen Baolan. The hooks could come in. Assume's there with the isolated Q as well. JJ forced the flash. Can they follow this one up? Strive is there. The flash stun comes in. And it's a kill. First blood, in fact, onto Strive.
Yeah, this just feels so rough for EDG. You asked me about the composition for RA, what the game plan was. We got a little bit derailed. I was getting onto how it could be kind of feast or famine, right, with these kind of champions, but what you want to do is just feast 24/7, look for skirmishes, look for fights. They've set down so much information to be ready for fights like that, and they're able to just pick apart the potential invade there of EDG as Ala up here on the top side with Dominus. Xiaoshu needs maybe another, well, he actually is nowhere near all out, so 1v2, not necessarily possible, have to flash out as Baolan's dead.
I really wish we could have seen the actual 2v2. They were winning the 2v2. They were dominating the 2v2, but Uzi and Mako somehow find themselves a kill. They had, like, no sums, right? The flashes were on cooldown. I guess Mako had Ignite, but my goodness, oh no, Lian. I don't know if he wins that 1v1, but the recall going to be channeled by Allah. He'll get out.
Yeah, so it looks spooky and it is, but Allah hadn't actually reset yet, so a lot of damage. So it's an engage that actually finds its way onto Mako, and then it's a knock-up into a pullback of Feathers, and Baolan dies. Well, yeah, sure. Nothing else to say, I guess.
I think maybe dramatically overestimating how far ahead him and Asum are there. There is nothing that Asum could do to follow that up with a minion wave there as well. Like, Kai'Sa does nothing when there's that many minions.
Yeah, it also, like, I think sometimes, like, it's so hardwired into supports, like playing Aftershock on things like Nautilus, that sometimes they just forget that when they have Glacial Augment, they're not always going to be that tanky when they go in. Speaking of tanky, Leanne's actually going to dodge away, so he's fine. He's going to survive for now. He's actually level 6, so he should already have an evolution. I imagine it's the claws. So that's the first step of Kha'Zix coming online here.
Yeah, so straight Dirk there. Definitely a big power spike for Leander. Strive using that Tibbers just to get priority in the mid lane, try and force Tvofo away a little bit. Baolan hooking onto the wall, but Mako, without reinforcements nearby, doesn't want to try and brute force anything just for the sake of it. Uzi will get a bit of solo time onto this tower, crashes the wave, sticks around for that solo plate. And luckily for him, his jungler isn't, gonna move on over to that side of the map just to steal away plate gold.
Did his jungler stop Uzi's base for the 3rd time in a row? I don't think so, buddy. All right, I don't know what to tell you, Joe. Like,
look,
just gotta
junglers should just be happy to be in the presence of an AD carry. You know, that should be enough reward. I don't think they need gold as well.
Do you know who you're speaking to? Do you know who's next to you? I'm the CEO of ADCA. This is the moniker I have. Like, you can't. Nonsense. Absolute blasphemy you're speaking.
Well, I'm the CEO of anyone that takes my plates hate, right? Because I am that AD carry. And God damn, it's the most annoying thing in the world. Fofo still on a ward here, as Herald will be taken by EDG. And I will say, a much better early game from EDG than what we saw in game number 1 of the series. I feel like, with a bit of gold in Uzi's pocket here, they're going to be in a much better spot. However, Uzi did move up to that top side, so Assume getting a bit of solo time at the bottom tower. That's going to be 3 plates taken.
Yeah, a fair amount of minions lost too here by EDG, so Assume pretty happy to make this trade work. So JJ's going to have to walk towards that top side, drop this plate. Uzi and Mako already got one. They're looking for a dive up here. But how hard is it?
Oh, Mako has to flash away. Uzi now tanking the tower. Q3 goes wide. All Out still available here as JJ goes to the second part of the Cyclone. Pushed out from the tower, but I mean, you needed to stay underneath the tower range, you'd believe there. Xiaoshu goes down. So successful dive from the side of EDG. But what do they lose for it is Assume is here alongside his jungler and his support. And it's just going to be the recall channel from Ala.
Yeah, okay, so Ala, we'll just go back to base. This tower's actually going to drop first on the side of EDG because they've got the Herald. So they at least have the tempo advantage, and they should even be able to charge this in, get it to hit the tier 2 tower. Whether or not they kill it is a different conversation entirely, but RA still, you know, you would have to say, fall a little bit behind on this trade, and EDG finally get Uzi a pretty big chunk, very sizable amount of gold into his back pocket.
Yeah, and it's actually not traded. Ala arrives in time to stop them going for the tower in the bottom side, so RA straight up losing out in this trade overall. They don't manage to finish the tower off. Still, Assume got plenty of solo gold there. As you can see, Static Shift finished off, managing to get a Blasting Wand as well. So plenty of gold in his pocket too. But just not quite able to finish the tower off. Slayen isn't sure if Mako has reinforcements. If he had the vision that we have, he'd be very willing to go in there, but feels like Mako must have someone alongside him. Really good from Mako to posture the way that he did.
Honestly, my silly monkey brain, I would like hit the W and I'll just go in because I want the first strike gold. I don't even care if I don't kill Mako. I just want to like print a little bit of money. It's like the most satisfying part about having first strike on cards. Like, you get so much cash out of just, you know, someone face checking you and you just getting a Q and an auto in.
Yeah. Q auto W jump away. That's
yeah.
400 gold, please. Yeah. First strike is a hell of a rune on Kha'Zix. Mako's been caught out. Look at the combo damage. They do commit the ultimate here, though, from Baolan. But the recall should be forced. Layen's in the area as well. Will be spotted on the ward, but it's enough that they'll secure this tower.
Yeah, almost certainly. Assume can commit if he wants it, but actually Baolan backed off. Maybe he was just seeing if there was a ward or something like this behind him, as junglers both being drawn here to the mid lane. Jie going to go onto Lian as he clears away that control ward. So this tower will go down to Assume, who of course you mentioned has Static Shift, has a Blasting Wand. That's an additional like 600s-ish gold into his back pocket. So he goes back for a Phoenix Codex. He is super accelerated already, very close to that Nash's tooth. Second item.
Maybe getting close to the W evolve at this rate. Fantastic stuff out from Assume. And I will say, you know, we came into this series saying RA. Highest kills of 15 and deaths of 15 in the league. Well, it's EDG making a play this time around. Baolan the target as the freeze comes out to Lian as well. He's taken out, but Assume is here to clean up the fight. You can't afford to give Kai'Sa all of these kills. It's a double for JJ, but a double for Assume as well.
Ah, man, I don't know if that's worth it. EDG giving over 2 kills to Assume when he's already this far ahead. Uzi is still scraping the ground to find a first item. This is a teleport coming in now also from Xiaoshu, who has the frozen gauntlet too.
Just all out and back towards the play here. Assume dodges the feathers and he's gone. Xiaoshu just wrecks him. Mako next on the chopping block, and the TP's been channeled here. Ala comes in, he's 1v3 and he's winning it. Flashes onto Assume, but he can't finish the kill, and it's a triple for Xiaoshu instead.
Oh no, as soon as I saw that teleport come down, I knew it was a disaster for EDG and that Xiaoshu was about to get a dribble. And this is just the perfect time for him to be fighting. He just finished up his mythic, so the level of lethality and chase down he has is basically peaking right now. And he's just hand-fed all of these kills. So if Assume getting those 2 kills in that skirmish towards the mid lane wasn't enough, now they also have to deal with a fed Cassante. I know there's riots going on in the chat right now. This initial engage from EDG is honestly not that bad, but I think they overestimate their ability to like be first move here, and not expecting Assume or Strive to kind of just one-shot the carries like they do. And he... so much damage. And
sick.
Yeah, it was such a good Kai'Sa. And then to make matters worse, teleport comes in. We've actually got a hover on Uzi's HUD, so the feathers don't lock him down. He still has his ultimate. And I think Wow,
Man, the
looks really
observers really
weird.
hate Uzi, huh?
They do.
They're like,
really hate
hey,
Uzi,
he has subs, guys. He has subs. On the replay overlay at the bottom, he doesn't have subs, so I have no idea if he had subs or not. As Fofo the target, it's a good little knock-up, assumes the trouble here, and he's taken down, shut down into the pocket of Ala. The 5v5 is good, but is it good enough, Layette? Just cuts Fofo in two.
Hey, I mean, look, it's pretty warm here in Europe, and Lian, maybe it's pretty warm over in Shanghai. Get some ice in his belly, but unfortunately, Baolan is being eaten up by EDG as well. And they should be able to pick up the dragon off the back of that too, Joe.
Man, these fights are so weird, this game. Like, that was like a 5v5 team fight, but not really, you know? I feel like we never actually had all 5 players playing from both sides at any point during that scrap. EDG, though, they win out. Doesn't matter how many players. They win the fight, and that's what matters. Get themselves their first drake of the game. And look at this. 7-6 on the scoreboard here. Gold almost dead even. This is the kind of game we were hoping for.
This was the bloodbath that was promised to us from those stats, right? Now, RA are on top of this Herald. EDG don't really have too many ults up and available, whereas RA have some of their more important ones ready to go. So they should still be happy to skirmish here. The Herald also, if they can actually pull it to not reset. Yeah, he's... Wait, first? No, Leon doesn't have W.
No. I mean, I didn't mean evolve. I meant, what is it called? Is it not an evolve? I don't know.
For Kha'Zix, yeah, it's an evolve.
No, for Assume.
Oh, yeah, Assume is also an evolve. Yeah, they're both void champs.
They really should have differentiated that a little bit, but yeah, no, the Kai'Sa has W evolve. Like, watch Assume when we're posturing like this. He is blasted out of W like every 3 seconds, and honestly, they chunk. They're doing like 200 damage. That is really hard to deal with.
Do you remember, like, there was that very brief window, I think it was like a year and a half ago, but like AP Kai'Sa was meta. And
yeah,
my God,
yeah. I played it.
Oh yeah,
I was one of the abusers.
I bet you did, huh? I bet you. It was so obnoxious. Like 700 a pop on 2 items. Like how?
Look, man,
was
you
that
can't hate on that. You're the AD carry hate CEO, not AP carry. That's an AP carry right there. So
no,
that's not your region.
What role does Kai'Sa play the most?
Shibata.
What role does Kai'Sa play the most?
Marksman.
Right, in the bottom lane, right? Yeah, correct.
You said ADC, attack damage carry.
Nope. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it. Also, as anyone will know, if you're an ARAM enjoyer, it's criminal. If you have to play against it on Summoner's Rift, when you play a lot of ARAM, it just gives you a little bit of PTSD because it's so horrible. It's so horrible.
It's so horrible. It's like half your in ARAM. It's like half your health from a W, and then you just blast out. It's like AP Nidalee, except way longer range, way fatter projectile, and it resets if you hit it. Like, come on, man. How is that fair?
It's not fair. That's the point. Anyway, speaking of champions that evolve, Lian has hit level 11, so he does have those Void Spikes upgraded, so that's just going to make his ability to not only stick on top of targets very, very easy, but also set up for the rest of RA to land a lot of their CC too. So EDG have to be very, very considerate about things that they're face checking, as maybe Strife should have been considerate about this face check too.
Zhonya's is huge, but he doesn't have a chance to get the Tibbers out. Good CC chaining from Fofo and JJ. They find Strive. It's not enough to force an objective for the time being, but hey, it's a window. It does mean that they can play with the numbers advantage through the lanes, but I don't know how much they're really going to find off of it. I feel like this happened in Game 1 as well, where they'd find a couple of good picks, but nothing was up. There wasn't really an opportunity off the back of it. 1v1 between the top laners. Don't think it'll lead to anything.
In the grand scheme of things, like, you see games like this a lot, where like one team is, you know, they find a pick, they get an objective, they get a herald, and then the other team like finds a pick, and then it's just a goal for the pick, and that's it, right? And this does kind of feel like a game like that, where EDG, you know, they certainly are finding picks. They, at the very least, they got that last dragon, right? So it's going to stop RA from getting an early dragon stack going. But even in saying that, it doesn't necessarily feel like EDG really have control of the map in any capacity. And it's RA who are able to just slowly, you know, chip away at what vision is available for EDG and build a line of their own. And you can see on the bottom side of the map, there's practically nothing that EDG are working with right now. That's all darkness that they're going to have to check into, and that's an Annie, a Kha'Zix, Nautilus Kai'Sa. It's a scary set of champions to have to walk into Fog of War for.
I think that's the most impressive thing about RA so far today is their vision control. Like, all throughout game number 1, but now here in game number 2 as well, there is a clear focus on not just setting up vision, but denying vision from EDG as well, which, you know, it's one of the things that we always talk about with top teams. We rarely get chance to talk about good vision control when it comes to mid-table and bottom of the table teams. So RA showing like a very clear understanding of how to get better at League of Legends as a team, how to become a team that potentially can contest higher in the standings. Good stuff so far. Forced out by EDG, who managed to get mid-prio, but Assume makes short work of that. Does have to be cautious where he walks, though, because Assume, with a HYCAN, with a Lissandra on the other side, they are more than happy to jump onto. Oh, no. Has to flash early on. Bofo's in, but won't be able to find Assume here. Wait, no, they did. They managed to take him down. Strive's gone as well. Assume just kind of walked into them. I thought he flashed out to safety, but he got one shot.
No, he got one shot. So I think they were all trying to just collapse on top of Fofo, but Fofo flashed W'd so quickly that Assume just wasn't able to use the summoners efficiently to get out of that one. So just gets popped. So EDG, this flank works out. I've got to say, that was a bit of a Hail Mary. But every Hail Mary has to be thrown to see whether or not it works. And in this case, it does for EDG. They get the dragon. And not only that, crucially, they get Assume summoner spells as well. So that's now, you know, a really, really easy Kai'Sa to potentially pick off, and no longer can he necessarily play aggressively for the next couple of minutes.
They went to the church, went to the priest, asked what their penance was for game number 1. Apparently it was a Hail Mary, and this is it. Mako with the engagement. Assume, like, yeah, so that is not the place to be, man.
Like, he wants to be with the rest of the team, right? He doesn't want to have to be forced to go all the way around, but honestly, this is just one of those situations where you have to bite the bullet, and it's not even necessarily one where it's a bad trade or anything like that. It's like 5 extra seconds of walking around, and you're not necessarily going to lose too much ground. So because of it, he loses his summoner spells and gets popped at the same time, whilst giving away the objective. Definitely feels quite bad. And now EDG up 1,000 gold, but it doesn't necessarily feel like the biggest 1,000 gold lead in the world. But it is JJ with a lot of those kills. Uzi is also really powerful. He's silently scaled up despite what was a bit of an irritating early game to pilot. Definitely can put in the work if he's afforded the space to do so.
And now, actually, EDG looking pretty good in this one, has to be said. We're kind of beyond that initial snowball that was coming on through. The Cassante could be a problem still. Xiaoshu on 2 items plus boots, feeling real strong. The same for Strive, actually, now finishing his 2nd item in the mid lane. Certainly, we're not out of the woods yet for EDG. RA definitely have power in this composition. But it does feel like the EDG composition is a more like standard front-to-back win the game composition, which, like, if there's one thing EDG can do, it's front-to-back team fighting right now. So I'm feeling good for them with the way that this game is going, with the way that their composition plays out. Feels like this could be the way to a victory for them.
Yeah, I feel like what's pretty interesting about both these team composition is that they definitely both kind of want to go forward, but at the same time, what's really going to be difficult from the RA perspective here is that EDG's champions, whilst they, you know, they can all thrive in going forward and trying to blow up, you know, 1 or 2 targets at the same time, they all have excellent peeling tools, right? Or their tools which you would see be used for aggression can also be used defensively excellently. So RA, now that we're in the mid game and we're in a situation where, you know, they're not necessarily as far ahead as they were maybe 5, almost 8 minutes ago, they have to kind of battle these champion kits now as well, where you can't necessarily just dive in for free on top of an Uzi who's just going to Feather Storm and then have the rest of his team cover for him. You have to really try and split apart some of these EDG members before you can actually take a full-on 5v5.
How unfair is it, though, that Kai'Sa gets to build this much AP as an AD carry, and like the Shiv scales with it now, so you literally just auto once and then Q and the wave is dead? Like, this is a 2-item AD carry. You should not be able to literally one-shot the minion wave. That is not.
Oh, it's fine. It's balanced.
The game is meant to work.
Yeah, look, here we go. Walk up, auto, Q.
Maybe can't walk up, though.
No, not this
Great counterplay out from EDG. Can't clear the wave if you can't walk up to it.
Yeah, all right. EDG do not enjoy Shiv at all. Actually, I say that Arla built it last game. You know, I don't get that Kennen build. The Kennen with Shiv. Like, I feel like if you're getting ahead, I can kind of get it, because then you can like very quickly. you can very quickly push the waves. I said this yesterday when I was with Mazel. I was like, look, lightning rat, lightning knife, sure, you know, like why not? But
Volibear jungle as well. Lightning bear.
oh,
Lightning dagger. Oh no, Lien. That is, as they say, not it. EDG find themselves a pick. I feel like this keeps on happening.
You know, this is Groundhog Day. Apparently, EDG, they get a pick, but there's no, they can't really take Baron. There's still the threat of potentially getting like kind of blown up inside of the pit, so they don't go towards it. RA are just going to retake vision around the area, and we're back to square one, apparently. Though the Dragon is spawning in 20 seconds time, and with no jungler on the map for RA, that does mean that for sure EDG should be able to just take control of that side of the map, and it seems like, given the fact that RA are actually just investing wards up here in the top side before a reset, they're looking for that, but they're also looking for a Zoom.
Zoom forced to flash away. Do they follow this one? Yes, they do. Fofo finds himself the kill. And perhaps more as well as Strive forced to flash. Baolan now the target of JJ, but Lien arrives and keeps his support alive here. But it's Lien you got to look towards as the Baron will be started by EDG. Mako, he's on defense mode at the minute. He's got to stop this bug getting into the pit, but Ala's alongside him with the Dominus procced. Lien is just running for his life. As Xiaoshu goes back into the Baron pit, but Lien's already gone. Ala grabs him and now chasing out Strive as well. Xiaoshu, he's found Uzi. There's 3 in the pit and the health bars are kind of low here as Ala chases Strive out of the play. Xiaoshu, what else can he find here? Q over the wall, wants to get it as Baron will be going down here. Ala knocked back. Xiaoshu still going for this one with the all-out. Finds 2 kills in the play and now a TP coming through from Strive. They've got to find more, but Mako, despite the bunny hop on the blast code, will get out.
4,700 HP, 300 and something armor, 200 MR, unstoppable, a shield, a dash. Xiaoshu is a complete monster, man. Takes out Uzi pretty much by himself. You know, 1 versus 2 inside the pit. Yes, the rest of RA are kind of getting minced outside, but still, it's so funny to see. EDG, however, the underlying fact of the matter is they pick up this Baron. They should be able to also now go towards the Dragon and actually make something happen here. On the map once Ala is back up and alive. RA have been so disgruntled. They've been so far apart from each other for so long. They need to stop splitting up. They need to stop also just getting engaged on so freely by EDG. Seems like the Dragon will actually end up going over to RA instead, but even in saying this, Dragon's now 2 apart. That is kind of gonna be a while till we see a Soul. As let's get a look at the copy pasta in action, shall we? It's a little bit unfortunate. Uzi is dragged over the wall here by the all-out. Nothing that can be done from the side of JJ. Tries to knock him up, but it's just not happening here. And Uzi kind of gets one shot and then finds the Q over the wall and just continues to chase down from there. It's really hard to get away from this. Kind of predicts the second dash as well. W comes back up. Percent HP damage, don't forget. Just removes Ala from the equation.
It's the fact that the Baron is currently happening. Xiaoshu is next to the pit and he's like, no, forget Baron. I'm playing deathmatch. And just goes for another kill to Ala. Like, he ain't messing about with no objectives today. 5-1-1 for Xiaoshu. Level 16 just hit as well, so the all-out at maximum capacity. But what can they do against the siege of EDG? It's 2 Drakes apiece, but the Baron in EDG's pocket. We need to see. Honestly, an actual fair fight from RA. They're constantly having someone caught out before the fight even begins.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, they just haven't had a 5v5 in a while. And again, you know, I was talking about how the compositions interact with one another. It is so difficult because EDG's tools, whilst they are definitely available for, you know, aggressive capacities, the defensive tools that can be used are so obnoxious if you're a dive composition like what a fair amount of RAs is. That being said, the strength of, you know, Xiaoshu right now on the Cassante, try and put it to use, see what you can do. Just because it feels like you're letting the game slip away very, very quickly over to EDG, who are now, you know, a little under 5k gold up, actually 4k gold up, and didn't really have much a right to be playing the game after how the first 10 minutes went earlier on, especially the bot side. It was such a disaster for Uzi, but he's found his way back in. He's 3.5 items now and should be pretty comfortable to basically survive almost any kind of situation because he's got that more. So assume Strive, not necessarily going to one-shot him. It's going to be up to Lien and Xiaoshu to really get on top of him.
Yeah. Lien trying to get some vision. Knows EDG are around. Strive's got to be cautious not to push out too far as well. So he'll get the cannon and we'll get out to safety. Some deep vision placed by Mako here. In EDG, the Baron's gone. No objectives for 2.5 minutes. I'm a little nervous here, Jamada, that we may have both teams just kind of chilling and clearing waves for a little while, but EDG look like they want to keep pressuring here towards bot tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only tower on the map outside of the base for RA, so for EDG, it's just kind of standing gold for them to pick up, so see how much pressure they can get down. RA finally grouping up as 5. It does mean that Arla's going to be afforded free time on the top side of the map that someone's eventually going to have to go and answer, and it should just about be Xiaoshu always. So now maybe, once the Cassante walks away, EDG can a little more happily walk up and actually try to play for this tower.
Yeah, Void Staff almost finished for Assume at this point. Almost level 16 as well. They're trying to get that Void Staff online for the next fight if they can, giving waves over to him as Xiaoshu, like you say, clearing the top side. And EDG, it feels like finally in control, maybe for the first time this entire series, honestly, where they're the ones pushing their vision line forwards. They're the ones that are, you know, in control of some of the neutral areas of the map. The one thing is, Baron and Dragon are going to spawn almost simultaneously. And that's where things can get real dicey for any teams, especially teams that are currently 3 and 5 in the standings. Now, EDG did have a macro miracle at 30 minutes last game. Perhaps that could be their way forward. I said that shouldn't be your main win condition, but hey, it's a win condition.
Hey man, we're about the time where that play happened for EDG, so let's hold our breath and hope for them, but you're certainly right. It's not necessarily something you want to be leaning on too much. R8 definitely giving them a lot of opportunities to find very positive fights, as this would be a very, very hard team fight for R8 to take inside of this choke here. You feel like you always get minced.
They're committing onto Bowland. They've already got the kill, but it's traded instantly. Support for support. Xiaoshu happy to tank. Featherstorm keeps him alive for now. Smofo's over the wall. Assumes alone, but he dives onto the byline instead. Grabs the triple, takes down Uzi. Survives somehow. 1 HP burning away, but the red buff keeps him alive. And now up to the top side. Ala, JJ desperately getting him. Flash smite from JJ. Lightning from the heavens for EDG.
If you can't get it done yourself, cool down the power of Thor. Instead, finds him with the smite, and yeah, look, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Assume might have got those kill credits, but Xiaoshu again found his way onto Uzi and kind of one-shot him still again. It's so obnoxious. You'll see in the replay while I'm talking about the initial engage, I was kind of questioning the fact that RA wanted to take this fight in the first place, and, you know, Baolan gets one shot, so does Mako as he goes in. But look at this, Xiaoshu W knockback, and he basically like 100 to like 75s it with just a couple of spells. Then Assume comes in, almost gets blown up here by JJ. If that Q doesn't actually go through whilst he's in the CC, it's very hard to cancel that auto attack. Then Assume has a little bit more HP to work with. Maybe the red buff, you know, can also help him out here. And he doesn't also get killed as soon as JJ gets on top of him, but it does, right? So yeah. EDG win the fight, they get the 3rd dragon, run away from Soul now.
Good
as
God.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
And most of that is stack Shiv, man. Most of that is stack Shiv, because before he jumps into the backline and finishes off Uzi, like, he's already got 2 kills. Mako comes in and gets absolutely one-shot. Fofo pretty much gets one-shot by him as well. The amount of damage he's doing from the stack shift, plus his Ws as well. Remember, the W has insane scaling with AP. Not only that, but a cooldown reset. He's going to go for a death cap last, isn't he?
He probably is, yeah. And, you know, I'm really curious. I don't know if I can really make this call out on broadcast, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because Jake was talking to us, hysteric, the other day, how the broadcast on the Chinese side, you can look up so many stats. I need to know how much damage that stack shift has done in this game. I would imagine that overlay has that kind of information. So if you have access to it and you happen to be watching the English broadcast, please find out for us. I would love you forever. And drop me a ping on Twitter. We need to know. As Ala
could be knocked back here, could be in big trouble here. Assume keeping himself safe, but it means that the rest of his team is kind of abandoned. Baolan falls? Baolan falls. Xiaoshu wants a little bit more as Ala walks out with his life. Assume could ult on that. It would be dangerous, but he
was
could.
Thinking about it. But he didn't. So, Mako will keep his life. And so will Assume, more importantly. And the Baron is on the table. If EDG want to try and start it up, Assume is gonna steal away this blue buff just because, of course, you can use that W spam. Yeah, he needs it. He actually does. So can look for a little bit of poke here. Crucially, Xiaoshu still has the all-out, and Assume also can reposition with the ultimate. So even though this Baron is getting started up and it's a 4 versus 5, it's still very, very risky.
This is
for Mako
actually
and EDG to try and take.
So for Assume, this situation is great. When the enemy is trying to do Baron, you cannot miss your W. It's almost impossible to miss your W. And it means you can just consistently get the W out, get the cooldown reset. It chunks like crazy. But then you also just get to blast it out again a second later. The Wukong clone counts as a hit, by the way. Yeah. So Assume will just keep blasting those out. They're going to just start the Baron instead.
Okay. I mean, it's half HP already. It's going down pretty quick. EDG need to make a decision now.
They've already got the Baron. Can they find the fight as well? Everybody diving in. Assume surviving for now, though.
Oh,
as two go down to Fofo. Xiaoshu pulls them all back to the backside of the fight. Assume ult already used. He doesn't have anything in the tank, just the W's flying out, but it ain't enough. And Baolan taken out. Yeah, you got the Baron, but man, it cost your entire team.
Man, Fofo's re-engage there was huge. He got everybody as Assume isn't going to find Ala, but my goodness me. Pretty much saves it, right? R8 sneak away that Baron. EDG takes so long to actually get back into the river and check that that buff is even going down that quickly. If he doesn't find that engage, you have to feel that R8 pretty much walk out almost for free as they took down Mako so quickly. Now EDG can probably take away this inhibitor. Death timers are only 10 seconds more for Lian and for Strive, so shouldn't necessarily go further than this, but still a massive loss for RA and a huge game for EDG.
Assume you got to be careful not to step up too much with the shift damage across the entire enemy team there. And he'll continuously find those moments, spotting out EDG. They don't want to let the recalls come on through here. Assume has that ultimate available once again. Baolan's hunting, Lien is hunting, Fofo trying to buy space for the rest of his team. Drake coming up in 50 seconds, but the resets should come through from EDG before that. Is a W going to come through? Can they cancel these recalls? Uzi recalling in the brush there. Will get away with it. And it looks like EDG do get out. It felt a little dicey for a minute there. Ala still denied. Look at this tempo play from RA. Denying these recalls opens up the Drake.
Yeah, I mean, both solo laners here of EDG don't actually have teleports, so they could be, you know, a good 10, 15, 20 seconds late even. And RA, this gives them the opportunity to just slip into the river, try and deny away as much vision as they can. Here, I think it's those two wards by the blue buff and that tri-brush. I think actually they're sat on a ward, aren't they? There's a ward on top of a ward in that pixel rush, right? So
somebody use a sweeper. There's two available.
I think they got it. I think they got it up underneath all of that because of the Umbral Glaive. So it should just be complete darkness inside the river itself. There you go. The blue ward confirms it. Now EDG have to look for something. Mako gets chunked out to half HP.
Are we actually going to 50-50? Oh no, the
God,
W goes through the goalpost. It's taken. Dragon on the side of RA. Can they get out with their lives? Fofo's onto the backside. Assume in so much trouble. Knocked up by Mako. Taken down by Fofo. And EDG, they make the team fight magic happen again. Mako goes down as Uzi is 1v2 in the backline. EDG, give them a 5v5 and they will take your lives. Uzi wants a little more to Strive, but he won't find it.
Oh my goodness, R8. I mean, they get the dragon, but they lose again. They get the objective, but lose the fight. And this time, it will cost them the game. EDG come alive, and it's Fofo again, back-to-back. Finds Assume this time, and Mako's able to follow up. And they will even up the series 1-1. And we're going to a game 3. EDG, it seems to be the case, man. After 30 minutes, they just decide to play the game. I don't even know what to say, Joe. It's a bit of an awkward occurrence how they're playing at the minute, but hey, it's nice to actually see EDG cohesively playing together in these latest game stage team fights.
It's kind of insane that EDG, they do take